Yeah.
19.
Leviticus 19, 33, 34.
All right, I got you. I'm in the New King James.
What happened to the old king? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
He's gone. So 33, 34. And if a stranger dwells with you in your land, you shall not mistreat him. The stranger who dwells among you shall be to you as one born among you, and you shall love him as yourself. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God.
Okay, so now if someone who is not ethnically an Israelite decides to cling to the God of Israel, what is his status in the eyes of the God of Israel? Now, go to Deuteronomy 10, 18 to 19.
Oh, we need to talk to him.
I hear your friend in the background, so I don't know. I'm getting distracted. Deuteronomy 10, 18 to 19.
Okay. 10, 18 to 19. It says, he administers justice for the fatherless and the widow, and loves the stranger, giving him food and clothing. Therefore, love the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Strangers means ethnically who are not Israelites, like the Israelites ethnically were not Egyptians, right?
Right. Right.
So even the Mosaic covenant, God loves the strangers, and he demands Israelites to love the strangers and to view them as fellow Israelites, not as strangers. And this is the Mosaic covenant, which is inferior to the new covenant, right? Genesis 12, 2 to 3.
2 to 3. Okay. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. And in you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed.
Only Judah and Israel?
All the families of the earth.
All the families of the earth.
So God's covenant with Abraham was that through Abraham's seed, the whole families of the earth would be blessed and saved, not just Judah and Israelites. You see why I have no respect for these filthy spiritual dogs and spiritual bastards who pervert the scriptures to their shame and humiliation?
Yes, he is.
Now go to Genesis 22. After Abraham offers up Isaac, go to Genesis 22, read 15 to 18.
And the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time out of heaven and said, by myself I have sworn, says the Lord, because you have done this thing and have not withheld your son, your only son. Blessing, I will bless you, and multiplying, I will multiply your descendants as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is on the seashore. And your descendants shall possess the gate of their enemies. In your seed, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed.
In your seed, all the nations of the earth shall be subjugated, and their women raped and ravished?
No.
In your seed, through Isaac, what will happen?
All the nations of the earth shall be blessed.
But if I were to read it like these perverts do, all the nations of the earth shall be raped and ravaged, and their women will be prostituted.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to YAHAWAH, BaHa, YAHAWASHI, BaHa, RAWCHAA, QADASH, and double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you, brethren, your other elders and brethren, you supporters of the faith. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom. I want to go into this video, with this guy. He's a Christian apologist, Babylonian Christian apologist, Sam Shimon, or whatever his name is. It's been known that this man, I can't fully say it to be true, that he has some mental, impairments. We don't know if he's on crank. I don't know. This is what has been said. But I just want to really deal with the lesson at hand with what he's been preaching to some Hebrew Israelites who is not sure of what they're reading. Again, I don't know if they hire these people to call in these weak, not understanding the scripture novices or they're just paid off. I don't know. But because this information is out here, this is called live discussion on Black Hebrew Israelites. We're going to go through a slew of scriptures. I may quote some. I'm not sure. But we're going to start with Leviticus 19:34. And when you read these scriptures, okay, I'm in Bible Hub. All you have to do when it comes to cutting these false doctrines is look for the precepts. Okay, and the precepts will be there. In most cases, some of it's studying. Okay, Leviticus 19:34, but the stranger that dwelleth with you shall be unto you as one born among you. So we can quote Acts the 2nd chapter as well. But for whatever reason, this man sees stranger. And in some translations it says even foreigners. Right? In other translations they have, there's many translations on this. And they'll say, okay, this definitely is a non-Israelite. When that's not the case. You had Jephune, the Kenizzite, who was the father of Caleb, if I'm not mistaken. And he was calling himself a Kenizzite. Whenever you see it say such and such, the such and such, like Simon the Zealot, or such and such, the such and such, it's because they lived and dwelt on the borders of the lands. You might hear somebody say such and such the Edomite, if that's the case. Right? And it's to be true when you really go into the research. This is why you don't see David the Judite. But I just wanted to make that clear when you're dealing with strangers. It says, and thou shalt love him as thyself, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So for whatever reason, they're pushing that this is talking about strictly heathens that we're dealing with. Now, when you go to the law, you'll hear something kind of similar. Right? Let's go to Matthew 5:43, which you also see this in Mark 12 and 12 and 30, right? Which is the second commandment. This is why this is being said. Ye have heard, right, that it has been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor, right, and hate thy enemy, right? This is what it says. But let's see what else it says. 43. And then we're going to go to Mark, since I did quote that. And it says, but I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, and do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. Right? And this is the picture that was painted towards us, to love all our enemies that hate us, even though the one you call Jesus has enemies. Revelation 1:7 says he's coming back, right? But these are talking about your fellow Israelites. When you go to Mark, the 12th chapter, Matthew isn't what I wanted, but I guess that was good. It worked. Let's go to Mark, the 12th chapter, right? And the 30th verse, which we know the first commandment. It says, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God in all thy heart, and all thy soul, and all thy mind, and all thy strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is like, namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. When we go back here to Leviticus, it says, and thou shalt love him as thyself. This is the same thing being said, right? So this word strangers is another form of universalism, according to the Bible, that was put, because the English language, two words that spells the same but different in meaning, right? There's many words like that in the English language. That's why you'll see Gentile and it'll say usually non-Israelite when you look it up in the definition. And in some translations don't even have Gentile, it says heathen, right? So, love thy enemy as thyself. Now, these same people in that land is not loving their enemies as themselves. They're spitting on people. They're talking trash to them. So why don't Sam Shimon and them fly over the waters and tell them that they're going off? He's not going to do that. But we're going to deal with Genesis 12 and the other scriptures he pulled out. Then we're going to go into some understanding of the words to get a clearer understanding of what's being said here. So let's go to Leviticus 26 and 33. Well, first we're going to go to Genesis. I'm not even going to get 12 and 3. We all know what that says, but this is similar. Genesis 22 and 18. Let's go to Genesis 22 and 18, what he quoted. I believe that's what it was. That in blessings, 17, that in blessings I will bless thee, and multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. Wait a minute. This brings me to another scripture. Okay? This brings me to another scripture. Let's go to the book of Hosea, right? The first chapter. What did we just read here? I just picked this up as reading that. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. Right? Here we go. Shall not be measured or numbered. So then we go back here to Genesis. And it says, and in the blessings I will bless thee in multiplying. We can also go, I believe, right in this same chapter or this book that talk about the being multiplied for a multitude, right? I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven and as the sand. This is what we were just reading in Hosea, which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gates of his enemies, right? His enemies. There you go. That's what it's saying. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. Well, who obeyed the Lord's voice? So let's go back here. All you got to do is go to the precepts. Again, I'll probably quote something like Amos 3 and 1. It says, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will bless you. So let's go to Leviticus 26 and 33. And I will scatter you among the heathen, but the other translation says the nations, with an S. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. But this is what it says here. And I will scatter thee among the heathens, right? And will draw out the sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste. Right? I will scatter you amongst the nations. Right? So this is not confusing to us. Either he loved the nations or we don't. But the Israelites will be amongst those nations. In fact, the tribes of Israel are nations with an S. Right? We can also prove that, but I may not remember. But through the Spirit, I'm just going to keep reading. Go to the precepts. Galatians 3, as he quoted Genesis 22 and 18, and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Let's go to Galatians, right? It says, in thy seed. Now, when you come down here to Galatians 3 and 16, it says, now to Abraham and his seed. Wait a minute, Abraham has seeds. So why is it saying singular, his seed? Right? Where the promise made, he have not, and to seeds. He saith not, and to seeds. Let me read that again. Now to Abraham and his seed, where the promise is made, he saith not, and to seeds. Here we go. And in thy seed. Goes on to say, as of many, but as of one. And to thy seed, which is YAHAWASHI. Another reincarnation killer right there. You guys who don't believe in reincarnation. Right? That was Abraham and Isaac. There you go. Who blessed Edom with the sword and coming to take it back from him. That's real Easy. Okay? So let's go to Genesis 17 to prove more. Genesis 17:17. Where we at? Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? And Abraham said unto Yahweh, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. And Yahweh said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. Now, anybody don't understand the story, Sarah got a little angry about it, messed up, but it was the jealousy part, not because of the maid of Hagar, is because she wasn't able to have a baby. And women today, if they're with a man, they want that man's baby. And it says, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. Abraham, Isaac, right? And Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee, behold, I have blessed him, right? So he's got his blessings. The families of the earth be blessed. He got his blessing. But we're going to go deeper into that. And will make him fruitful and multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he begat, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant is I will establish with Isaac. So we go more into the precepts of Galatians 3. When we read, and in thy seed is one, you go to Matthew 1:1 is the precept. All it is the precepts. The book of the generations of YAHAWASHI, the son of David, the son of Abraham. There we go. The genealogy. Here's the other precept. Okay, there's the other precept, Acts 3:25. Again, I'll try to make this quick. It says, ye are the children of the prophets, and in the covenant which Yahweh made with his fathers, our fathers, saying unto Abraham, and in thy seed shall all the kindreds of the earth be blessed. So we look at this word kindreds, which I've done several times. G3965, it says, lineage running back to some progenitor ancestry, families of those whose given people lay claim to a common origin. The Israelites, which distributed into 12 tribes, descended from the 12 sons, with an S, of course, sons of Jacob. These were divided into families, which divided into houses. So all the nations, right? This is actually going into the Israelites. And ultimately, when the world is at rest, yes, everybody will have their blessing, but it will be ruled by the Israelites. Okay, so let's go also to thy neighbor. Let's go get that. G4139. Let's see what this says. See what neighbor says. Neighbor, any other persons, and where two are concerned, the other, thy fellow man, thy neighbor, this is where we go back, and to the stranger would be your fellow man, thy neighbor, according to the Jews, any member of the Hebrew nation and commonwealth. Right? There we go. So this Sam Shamuyan, he doesn't understand it. They don't go into root words. They just read it right on the layer. They don't do no study. They don't do no research. They don't understand universalism. They don't understand the way it was written and the way it was presented is to make it look like everybody can be a part of it. But Amos 3 said he revealeth his secrets to his servants, the prophets, right? Starting with the elect. You got Israelites who even stumble on a whole, quite a few things. But, I just wanted to touch on this easy dissection with this Shamunian demon.